Hello, I'm Daljit Dhaliwal in Washington, D.C. The main stories brought to you by Al Jazeera. Some Western diplomats walked out of the United Nations General Assembly in protest at a speech by Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. He said that some in the world have speculated that Americans were behind the 9/11 attacks. Earlier, US President Barack Obama addressed the assembly, urging world leaders to throw their full support behind Israeli and Palestinian peace negotiations. India's Prime Minister has called an emergency meeting to try to save the Commonwealth Games. Two more countries have announced that they won't send their athletes to New Delhi until the situation changes. The opening ceremony is 10 days away, but much of the site remains unfinished. Prerna Suri has more from New Delhi.
This is the parking lot for the main stadium, which is just behind me. By now, most of the work here should have been complete. But as you can see, workers here are trying to complete as much as they can just 10 days before the games are about to begin. Even if India manages to pull this through, the sheen of these games has been lost.
Colombia's army says that it's killed the number 2 rebel commander of the Revolutionary Armed Forces, or FARC. The man known as Mono Jojoy was in the rebel group for nearly 4 decades. Colombia's president says that his killing is the most crushing blow against the FARC in its entire history. At least 3 other key leaders have been killed in the past 2 years. Riots have broken out in Yemen after security forces broke up a rally of southern separatists. The clashes took place in the town of Huta in Laji province, south of the capital Sana'a. The protesters are calling for the international community to support their cause. They say that the unity agreement with the north has failed and they want their own independent state in the south. In France, hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets in the second 24-hour strike this month. The action is disrupting schools and transport links. French trade unions are keeping up the pressure on President Nicolas Sarkozy over his government's plans to raise the retirement age from 60 to 62, so far with little effect. And those are the top stories, but don't forget you can keep up to date with all of the news on our website. That's aljazeera.net/English.